Hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel, and today we are going to be talking about programming. In this course I name it Foundations of Computer Programming because I think sometimes programming is mystified, especially code is mystified in the media, and I would like to take this opportunity to teach you how to program and to make you feel that it's not really as difficult as you think it is. And the reason why you think it's difficult most of the times is because usually what you do is you focus a lot on the code instead of focusing on the primary goal of a computer programmer, which is to solve a problem. One thing that we all need to understand is that computer programs are nothing mysterious. Computers are really stupid. You who write the code is the genius. And what you do is you cannot solve a problem if you do not you cannot tell the computer to solve a problem if you do not know how to solve that problem yourself. All the computer does is execute what you ask it to do. And programming is a way that you use to communicate and tell the computer what to do. Because, as humans, we have a limited capability to execute certain tasks that computer are better at doing. Tasks such as doing multiplying large number or just doing things repeatedly and faster. However, it does not mean that the computer is smarter than us. And that is why we have created programming languages in order to interface with computers, to talk to them, and to make them help us solve our real life problems. So programming languages are not mysterious. Programming languages are not too much different from the language that you learn, like French, like English, and any other things. The only problem is that those languages are just a little bit more they're just a little bit what we could call sometimes context sensitive. So what we are going to do here is that we need to learn certain things. That we need to do is that we need to try a little bit to separate programming languages and the task of programming, because if you focus too much on the specific programming language while learning to program, you end up trying to memorize the syntax of the programming while forgetting that you need to learn about the building blocks of programming, because there are concepts in programming that are the same across all programming language, regardless of any language that you choose. You see, programming is about problem solving, while a programming language is a tool that you use to solve that problem. So I want you to be confident in this series that you are going to learn and you are going to prosper. You will be able to learn how to program. At the end of this series, I'm sure that you will be confident to go and learn any other programming language, because the way I'd like to structure this course is that I'm going to discuss a concept where we are going to talk about a concept in programming, and then I will show you how it is applied in real life, like using a programming language. And the programming language I'm going to use in this course is called Python, and I'm going to show you how to install Python. You need to install Python in your computer so that it can interpret what you are doing. It is like when you it's like changing a language in your phone, for example. So I want you to think of the Python as something that we are going to install as a translator something that when we use the language Python to talk with the computer, the thing that we are going to install is going to be a translator. We write something in Python like you write in French, and then that software, that Python that we are going to install, is going to translate to the computer to tell it what to do, because computers only understand binary. And now our programming language is a way that we have abstracted that binary, because it's harder and longer and a pain in the ass to write programs in binary, that our predecessors have decided to create something that is a bit closer to our language, the language that we know. So one of those languages is Python. And with Python, we are going to learn how to talk to the computer. And now I want you to go to open your browser. Open your browser, go to Chrome or anywhere, any browser. You open your browser and then you type Python. And then you go to, you see downloads here, you click on downloads, or you can go to this here, the link here I'm showing, python.org/downloads, and then you'll be able to download the Python that is specific to your computer's operating system. Now what you do is, truly speaking, if you have a computer that's up to date, you already have Python. But to just make sure that we have the latest version, or just you have Python, just go ahead and click here and download, and just follow the instructions to install Python. After we install Python, it's not enough to start. Another thing that we need to start is something that we need to write the code in, like a notebook. See, like for example, if you want to write something and print it, you need a software that you need to write in it, like for example Word document. If you are using Microsoft or any other operating system, use your Word to write essays or to write research papers. It's the same way in programming languages. There's something called a text editor, and we are going to use a text editor that we will install, that we are going to use to write computer programs, and then we will be able to tell Python to execute them. So the one that I use is called VS Code. I would like you to type that in your browser and then go to this link, VS Code, and then once it opens, you can just click on download here, for instance. Once you're here, or you, as we did before, code.visualstudio.com/download, and then you choose this. You click on any of these depending on your operating system. Now after you do that, you just double click and follow like you install any other software. If you do not know, please Google or write in the comment down below and I will be able to help you. Okay, so now that we are done with installing Python, the first thing we need to talk about is that in every programming language there are things that we call keywords. Those are reserved keywords that computers have, programming languages have, that they use to help them to communicate with computers. So for example, in Python, if we want to tell the computer to print something on the screen, what we need to do is, there are words like print that will tell the computer to print something on the screen. But before we do that, once we are done with installing the Visual Studio, we need to double click on it and open it. And when we open it, we'll see something like this. This is a screen that we usually come on, but let me show you. So far I have my computer, and then if I open Visual Studio Code, you are going to see something like this. Now, in order to start writing code I think the best thing we should do right now is to create a folder where we are going to put all our code, like the documents that we have written. So the first thing we do is I want you to go here on File and then New File. Once you have New File, I would like you to either to do Control and S, and that will ask you to save it somewhere. Then what you do is you will, this is just an interface on my own computer, but most of the time you find it's the same across most operating systems. You go to desktop and then you can create a new folder. For example, on my system I could create a folder now. Here, yours, what you can do is you can go on your desktop and then right click and then look at create folder, and then let's create folder on maybe introduction to Python, and that folder is where we put our first program. Now this is a folder, and inside that folder we create a file, and the file that we are creating, we can name it hello.py. Now we need to understand that whenever we are creating a program, a file that we need Python to read, that we are going to write Python code in it, we need to end it with, we write the name and then we do .py. It is important that you remember that, because then it will tell your computer that this is a Python file, and then once you double click on it or you run it, then it will ask the Python software to run it, because the Python software is what we call an interpreter. It's like a translator. For example, when you go on a Google Translator, it's a software, right? You write something in English, it will translate in French. You write something in French, it translates in English. This is the same thing. That software, the interpreter that we said, the Python software that we installed the first time, is going to interpret that thing that we write, the code, the Python code that we write, to tell the computer the things that we want the computer to do, and then it is going to translate those things into another language that the computer understands better, that we are a little bit too lazy or dumb to understand. Okay, so we save. Once we save, you're already here. You see here hello.py. Now we said computer languages have keywords, specific keywords that they use to tell the computer what to do. The first one that we are going to look at, obviously, is how do we tell the computer to show something on the screen, to print something on the screen. The way we do that is, in Python we have a word called print. Print is a keyword in Python. Print, you see, it's already showing me because of this one that I have here, Python. Now print, but print, remember those two parentheses. We'll talk about them later, but always remember, you say the word print, you write, and then you open parentheses, and then remember the double quotations like this. Those double quotations, you print, you write anything that you want the computer to show on the screen. For example, hello world, hello world. This is what we have so far, and when I run this, you are going to see the computer printing hello on the screen. So here you see the icon here, you're going to see it on your screen. Let's say print. Now you see here hello world. It's telling the computer hello world. You see, when I click, what it did is that my operating system told went to our desktop, and then in the directory that we created, introduction to Python, it found this hello py. But then what it did was it asked Python to run it, to translate it, that this is our Python interpreter, this is where it is located. Now you see this file, because we said it ended with .py, then our computer already knows that this .py is run by Python. The computer will say, I don't know what that is, but I think Python is going to run it because it ends with the .py. Then it sends it to Python 3. That was like the software that I asked you to install the first time. Now that we have installed this, we need to and now that you had installed it, we are going now to, then it was able to translate the things that we wrote here, to translate it into something that the computer understands. Because when this Python sees print, it says, yeah, in my language, in the specifications of my Python language, my creator wrote that if I see print, then I need to translate that print with anything that comes in here to tell the computer to show anything that comes here on the screen. And that's what the Python translator did. Now let me show you. We can have it on multiple lines. Print I am learning, and then you will see I am learning will come. Print I am tired, and then print I am hungry. And you will still see, now that I will run it again, and you see we got it all. Hello world, I am learning, I am tired, anything. Now you see anything that you want to be printed, like words, you put it. Always remember those two things. They are really, really important to remember. Now next time we are going to talk about more things that a programming language has, and then we will continue with our course and we'll talk about variables, because these are important. Because you see, programming is all about problem solving, and when we solve problems, we manipulate data, because data is the only thing that the computer knows, and those data, we need to store them somewhere, hence the concept of variable. So variables are going to be extremely important, and you find variables in every programming language. So this is also a concept that you need to understand and differentiate it from the specific of Python, because Python is a language, it's a tool we use, and variables are, it's like in math. So I'll see you next time, and let's go and practice. Read about Python, practice, and try to just do those print anything. And remember that you always need those two here for now. I just want you to only think about that and try to write print and do anything in it so far, and then we will come back later. Thank you, and have a fantastic afternoon.